Next up is Indiana head coach Tom Crean. Crean enters his 5th season with the Hoosiers and returns all 5 starters from last year's team that advanced to the NCAA Sweet 16, including Big Ten Preseason Player of the Year Cody Zeller. Coach, if you'd like to go ahead with an opening statement, then we'll open it up for questions.
Well, I'd like to thank the Big Ten, first of all, for continuing to have what is just an incredibly first-class event, and for all the people that participated in that. Thank you, all of you. Thanks for coming and covering this league, and I don't think any of us take it for granted. I know I don't. And when you coach in a league like this and you coach against the teams and coaches that we go against, and you know that it is a big deal every time out, to have this kind of attendance is a big deal as well. And as far as our team, right now, there's no question that our whole mindset, our whole goal to get to where we want to be as a team, to get that identity that we have to have, is to make sure that we feel like we're better, just a little bit better every day. It sounds cliche-ish, but it's the truth. And the thing that I can always look at and back it up with is we wouldn't be in the position that we're in right now without having that mindset from before. And the bottom line is, if your team is improving, led by your best players, and then everybody else has to fall in line. And there's no doubt that the attention the team has gotten has been good, and in the sense of that they've worked very hard to get back in the conversation. It makes for good conversation, but the daily challenge of trying to improve and trying to deal with all the things that we need to do to be a better basketball team is what's most important. And that's where our focus has been. That's where it's been as coaches, and fortunately that's where it's been as a team inside of our practices. And it's our job as coaches to create that environment every day where the challenges are there, dealing with adversity, trying to put them in as many situations that we can to improve in and to take head on. And it's up to them to make sure that they come in every day with a mental preparation that's strong, with an energy that's really good, and with a mindset to compete. And if we do that, then improvement will be there, and that gives us an opportunity to move forward. As far as the league, to me, when you look at this league, I don't think you can do anything in my mind but look at the fact that Michigan State, Michigan, and Ohio State won the championship last year, and until somebody unseats them, that's the way that it is. And it's a new season and all that, but those teams didn't get any worse. And in some cases, probably even better. And when you have a league like that and you've got all the great programs that are in this league, you know that it is absolutely going to be hard-fought, grinded out, in the sense of not maybe grinding the games as much as grinding through what it will be all about, and getting your team up to that challenge through your practices and through your non-conference is so important, because you don't know what the league holds, other than that it's going to be a battle every night. So to me, that's where our focus is. As far as some individual guys, Cody Zeller epitomizes so many things about the program, and number one is the humble spirit that he has. I mean, he's very confident, but he's got a humbleness, and he's got a desire to improve. And when, like I said earlier, when your best players lead the way with improvement in your team, then you have an opportunity to keep getting better. There's no room for taking a seat back or for taking a day off for anybody else in the program when your best players work that way. And he continues to improve. He's got a lot of things that he can get better at. He knows it. We know it. And if those improvements continue, we can do a lot of things with him. As far as our 3 seniors that are with us now, Jordan Hulls has been just a classic example of what you want your program to be from start to where it is right now. He's never come in and wavered one day in his work ethic. He's never come in, you could probably count on one hand the number of days he's taken off, and that's out of the 365 days a year. And he's always in the gym. He's always in Cook Hall or Assembly Hall making his game better. And he's a fantastic leader for us. Christian Watford also shows what happens when you continue to improve. And he went from a 32% three-point shooter as a sophomore to a 44% three-point shooter as a junior, and had much of the year where he was hovering around the 50% mark. And the biggest thing for Christian this year, if our team is going to get better, he needs to model the consistency day in and day out that he needs to be at his best, which he's fully capable of. And again, then you have some of your best players leading the way with where it's at. Derek Elston, unfortunately, had an injury on Saturday night during our Hoosier Hysteria. He'd been playing pretty well, and his weight was at a great place, his strength was at a great place, and just as happens sometimes, something happened inside that game that nobody can pinpoint, and he had some knee issues. We've held him out, got him MRI'd right away, and he's going to have surgery tomorrow, and he'll be out a period of time. And we have a baseline of what we're looking at that, but you can never tell till they get in, they do the work, and then start the rehab process with him. And we've got a lot of other players. I want to open up time for questions, right? And try to answer anything I can.
Thanks, Coach. We'll open up the floor at this time.
Is this fresh right here? Fresh. Good.
Front left here.
Coach, there's obviously a lot of hype surrounding this team, something that your teams at IU haven't really had to deal with so far. How do you prepare your team to stand up to that sort of pressure?
Well, our team has had to deal with a lot of other type of hype that wasn't necessarily positive. And I think it's real easy to look at the couple of years that we started and say, well, Indiana was down and Indiana wasn't doing this and wasn't doing that, and that's all true. But the target of being an Indiana Hoosiers never changed. And Indiana is synonymous throughout the country for being known for a lot of things in basketball. And it was always a big game. It was always a big deal when you were playing Indiana or Indiana was coming to town. And I think that hasn't changed. Will it grow some? Maybe. But I think the bottom line is a year ago when there really weren't those outside voices talking in a totally positive light about where the team was at, that didn't faze them. They continued to work. They might respond here and there, but it didn't faze them. And the work ethic that I see from this team right now, it's the same thing. I mean, there's no question that they're receiving a lot of attention, and we're trying to keep our business as usual approach as much as we possibly can inside of the walls of the building, and you try to keep that regularity that you have to have and deal with it as it comes. But the bottom line is when those guys hit the practice floor, or when they hit the weight room, or when they go into the film room a lot more starting this weekend, and they're working towards where they want to work, none of that really matters. What matters is, are they challenging each other? Are they competing? Are they absorbing the competition? And are they really hungry to get better? And I don't see any sign of that not being the case.
Got back left along the wall.
Coach Crean, obviously going back to your Marquette days and even now you've coached a lot of great players. Where do you think Cody Zeller ranks in terms of the better players you've coached, and do you think there's a lot of pressure on him this season considering all the preseason accolades he's received?
Well, first off, I don't think Cody is somebody that's ever responded to pressure. I think that's what makes him as mentally tough as he is at his age. And to me, that's never wavered. He's not easily rattled. And his confidence is high because he never, I don't see anything ever from Cody that would make you think that he's arrived at some point or he's achieved some type of greatness. He's not like that. I don't want to compare players when you're still coaching them. Those are for days when it's all said and done. But to me, I'll go back to what I said when we signed him. His mental toughness is phenomenal. His character is phenomenal. He's got a tremendous work ethic. He's a great teammate. Those are the things that make him stand out right now. And if that improvement level continues the way that it has, then he'll have an outstanding season for us.
Far right.
Coach, I know this is a little bit early, but how do you see Derek's injury sort of affecting, I guess, the dynamic of the front court at this point?
Well, we've been dealing with other injuries this week with having Hunter out again, and so you hate to say that it's part of it, but it really is. I mean, the disappointment is for him in the sense that he has been working very hard. He's been playing at a pretty good level, improving all the time. And I don't see this taking away a season or anything like that. I mean, certainly, surgery, I'm not a doctor, so I mean, we'll find out. And I did have to stay about 10 miles away from here last night, too, because we couldn't get in this hotel. It wasn't a Holiday Inn Express, but it wasn't right here. But I think that from everything that we've heard from our doctors is that it should be good. I mean, it was something that it had happened in high school to him before he ever got to Indiana. So we'll see how it all turns out. But I think he's a senior. He's been a tremendous leader. Without question, he's been as good as anybody in the program at trying to help the younger players. I don't think that will change, even as he's going through the rehab. And he knows what's expected of him. He knows what we do, and I think that will really help him as he comes back. There won't be a great learning curve, obviously, for him in that sense. And he's been through it. He can make shots. He can get rebounds. He knows what we're doing. So when that time comes, he'll be back. And in the meantime, other people will have to continue to grow into what they're trying to get to, and at the same time, maybe do a little bit more with the veterans.
We have time remaining for one more question for Coach along the aisle.
Hi, Coach. I wanted to ask you about the strength of basketball in the Midwest this year, with yourselves, Kentucky, Louisville, Michigan, all coming in toward the top of the ranks.
Forget Ohio State.
Ohio State, of course.
Purdue, Wisconsin, Michigan, Michigan State, Iowa, Minnesota, Northwestern. Who am I missing?
And how that
Illinois.
might, if it all changed the landscape of college basketball.
I think there's more attention paid to it, maybe just a little bit nationally, but anytime, Indiana, Louisville, Kentucky, those are always going to be names that are big, throughout everywhere when it comes to college basketball. The fact that all three are getting the attention the way that they're getting right now, I think just brings just a little bit more attention to it. But for somebody like me, and maybe for others that live in the Midwest, maybe even a little bit more appreciation. I know it feels good for us to be back in that conversation, to be back mentioned in the same breath of other great teams, and not only having a great program, which Indiana has been for decades, but back to having a chance to be really successful. So, but again, we didn't even mention Cincinnati, we didn't mention Marquette, we didn't mention Xavier, we didn't mention Butler, we didn't mention Notre Dame. The Midwest is absolutely loaded, and there's a lot of excitement for fans, whether they're at the games, whether they're reading about it, watching it on television, and it just makes it that much more competitive for all the coaches and players going against one another.
Thanks, Coach. Best of luck this season.
Thank you.